Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be playing Gunfire Reborn, because it's a game that I've played it a few times. I've only beaten the game once, but I had fun. I don't want to do Elite because I'm not good at this game. I'm just going to do it again on normal. I'm going to be playing this. I think from my memory is that it's relatively straightforward outside of like boss fight context. So I don't think it will be too difficult to speak throughout. Okay, it's F to pick up, not E, which is weird to me, but... Ooh, this is not going to go well because I don't remember the controls, but... I'm playing on basics, so it should be fine. But... Ooh, I can't aim, but that's just me. So today, I'm going to try to talk about, keeping Monday to books that I've been reading recently. So what I want to talk about today are two books that I've read a few chapters of in the last little bit. Okay, my keyboard's very clicky, I think. So I might have to figure something out about that. Move it a little. It's a little better. It's still very clicky. I'm gonna have to figure that out at some point. Not for today, because I forgot about that, because I moved where everything is, and now it's closer, but I've been playing, I haven't been doing anything with the keyboard since, so I didn't actually verify that, but hopefully it's not too loud. But yes, I wanted to talk about what I've been reading, or some of the things that I've been reading where I've read a few. There's been new chapters that have been released recently, or that have been translated recently. And these are books that are not just a single volume long, so I've read for one of these it's the first 2 volumes, and for the others it was the first it was the first like 10 volumes I've already read, and just sort of reading the chapters again reminded me of some specific elements that are part of them, with how like reading the most recent chapters has had it's reminded me of the stories, and so I think they're interesting to talk about. Okay, let's doing that again just because I hadn't refreshed it. But what's with that? But the first one that I've been reading in the recent past couple weeks is called By the Grace of the Gods, which is not it's definitely not an exceptionally new or unique like isekai story, but it is, cozy, and like it does have a few elements that are unique-ish to them that I think it does well. But it's mostly just, if you are looking for what is basically a slice of life adjacent type of story, because like if you're just looking for a mostly relaxed story, it is, most of it is in that sort of level of being relaxed. There are moments in the story that are more serious within the context of a story that is otherwise very relaxed. Like you obviously know that the main character is not really ever gonna lose. It's not the type of story that actually makes you like feel like anybody is at risk. Like there's no risk, which can be a negative, can be a positive, but if you're reading a slice of life story, you don't really care too much about like you don't really care too much about there being large stakes, major stakes, where characters could, that's a NPC, where characters could just die. You don't really, it's not what you're looking for when you're reading that type of story, so the lack of stakes is, I think, a non-issue. Oh, okay, I got confused, but lethal, and then I have infinite ammo as long as I chain kills. Yeah, like, it's not a serious story. It's like, I would not recommend it if you ever wanted to read a serious story that is actually, like, has moments of danger. It is not that type of story. It does not do a good job of being that. But it has some, like, another, I think a positive element is the way that it implements, like, it's a common cliche of, oh, slimes, or whichever creature the main character decides to invest all their time in is special because that's the one that the main character chose to focus on. Like, that's just sort of what happens in these types of stories, but in this one I think it does a good job of, like, there is enough justification for most of the hand-waveable slimes are special, because at least there's the logic of they're weak creatures, but they're like slimes. They can absorb everything, so they adapt to their environment. And that makes for, while not a totally unique type of concept, it is still a fun concept to emphasize. And like, that's fun. It's not the most important plot point in the story throughout, but it is relevant for a while. And like, it's also an eventual reveal of, like, oh, he had a terrible like, it from the beginning it's like, oh, he had a terrible first life, he got reincarnated here, and his life is better. Like, that's how it all starts. It is eventually revealed there is a reason that his life is terrible. It's kind of, I think it's not the most interesting reason, because at least up until where it is now, it's kind of like, it's a little bit, not totally clear why it happened the way it did. Because, okay, because it's like, it's a spoiler, but like, the reason that he had such a terrible first life is because the dash was because the god of Earth decided that they were going to make them suffer, put challenges on them to, like, steal their fortune and increase his own power or something like that. That part of it is not exceptionally clear, but it is still part of it, where, yeah, instead of just having the character being, like, instead of the character just being like, oh, they had a bad life because they were unlucky, there is justification for their bad life. That's kind of, it's neat. It allows for more, it justifies the world a little better that way. And beyond that, it's not the most complex story, but it does, I think, fall into a lot of the isekai type tropes, wherein sure, like, wherein he brings stuff from his world that instantly make this new world far better, which I think is always kind of, it always feels a little lame. But like, at least in this one, it's sort of interesting because it's something generic, it's something minor. But like, he brings a laundromat to this world because what do slimes do? They eat like organic matter. What do you often need to clean off of clothes? Organic matter, like dirt is not quite it, but like that. But that premise, that fundamental established concept for that has been established for slimes is then used in a little bit of a, for this type of story, in a creative way. Okay, this is not gonna be easy. Like, I wonder if this will heal. Okay, that's definitely better damage. But yeah, so like, it has some interesting parts. It also does make a clear connection that people are sent here semi-regularly. This character is not unique in being sent to this world, which I think is always a positive. I think this one does explicitly have, he's probably going to be the only one he'll ever meet. But that, I think, is also, I find, a more interesting type of this type of world where, yes, he's not unique in having come to this world, but he is the only one right now. Which I think is important, because I find when these stories get too many others with crazy magic powers, it becomes less interesting to me. None of those are any good. Because, like, there's some that it handles it well. And there's some where it's even explicitly, yeah, these people are just super common. They exist everywhere. Everyone's met some of them. And like, that is another way to do it. But when it's like, when it's a story that's trying to just be relaxed, having other people with that additional, like, motive is, I think, prone to causing more complexity than is fitting for many of these stories. And this one, it is mostly just, yeah, people have been here in the past. They weren't the best people always, but some of them were good, some of them were bad, and it's just people, which is nice. It's just like, people have been here from his world before, and they were just random people. Some of them did bad stuff, some of them did great things. Like, there's no aggressive agenda to them being brought to this world. It's mostly just, they're just a vehicle for energy, I think is what is established in the story. But that's near the start. That's only mentioned briefly at the beginning. And it never actually matters to the story. Yeah. Reading the recent chapters, it has been very... it's been trying to lead up to higher stakes. I don't know if it's really working, in my opinion, but it is emphasizing more danger. Which, I mean, it's all gonna just work out because that's the type of story it is. I don't, neither of these guns is very good. Oh, I like this type of gun. +1 when hitting 3 targets in a single shot. Sticks and then explodes. I kind of want it. I've never seen that. Anyway, I'm gonna... There's a solid chance that I just die here because I'm bad. It's not a hard fight, but... There's a very real chance that I do just lose. Though the split arrows hitting him is very nice. Yeah. By the Grace of God, it's fairly chill as a story. I would not rank it exceptionally highly by any, like, objective standards. But I think from a relaxed reading perspective, it's pretty good. It's not the best. It's far better if you just want a relaxed story to read. But there's far, far worse that you could read that are in the same general style of isekai that are relaxed. Nope, I'm gonna die. I didn't die, I'm lucky. I need to swap out this gun because it's not good. That might be fun. I've never actually want to see what this shoots like. It's just a shotgun? Oh, is that a melee? Kind of fun. I like this gun. 80% weapon damage on next hit after making a critical hit 2 times in a row. It's only on next hit, which is basically if you get crits for everything, that's a 40% damage increase. Which is actually pretty good if you hit crits constantly. But 2 crits 2 times in a row with a super fast gun like that's not stable. Cover 100% of your armor after hitting an enemy with a leap. Yeah, let's just emphasize armor gen. Let's go for a leap and melee centric, I guess. But oh, if I was going melee centric, I actually probably should have gone with the saw one because that saw would be good in melee. I basically never use this gun, so I actually have no good clue whether it's good or not. I don't like it. And I think the only thing I've ever done on this character is go for a wing attack build, I think, where there's a certain perk that every kill with your wing attack gives you more damage with your wing attack, so it just stacks like forever. And there are things that make it so you have a ton of the wing attacks and you basically can spam it to kill every enemy. But yeah, back to... See, I'm very bad at staying on topic, which is what I'm trying to improve. Oh, I'm gonna die here. But if I go back on topic, by the grace of the gods, it's sort of... I think what I'll try to do is talk about... Yep, I'm gonna die here because of these snipers. Is that just homing in on me? But by the grace of the gods, it begins like kind of interestingly. The character, you know, reincarnated, talks to the gods, whatever, that's a common trope. But as part of that, he's then, when reincarnated, is like, just reincarnate me in the middle of a forest away from everyone so that he can just relax, rest, and recuperate. I'm gonna die. I have no way of killing this guy. Well, I do, because I can just shoot him, but he will kill me. Especially if he has these retainers. Okay, let's just... I'm gonna die. And he can shoot through walls, seemingly. What that felt like. Can that hit at least? Okay, let's run. I'm gonna die here. 3, 2, 1. Yep. Oh, I have 3 lives. This is not gonna be fun. I'm gonna die 3 times in fairly quick succession. Die. Stuck under there. Stuck on that. But by the grace of the gods, I hate that they just aimbot you. I give up. This run's over. There's no way I'm killing that guy because I don't have enough damage. Confirm. Let's switch to a different hero. This guy's weird. I mean, this one here is pretty easy if I remember. Well, it's the only one I beat the game with, but with this. But back on topic, I need to not keep getting distracted. So by the grace of God, he starts out in a forest just trying to relax. I don't know what that does. Yeah. But he starts out in a forest. And as part of that, he just relaxes there. He learns magic. He figures out how to use it properly. And he encounters slimes. I have no idea what that does. I need to actually figure out. Oh wait, that changes based on your weapon. But he learns about slimes, he meets them. He starts to examine how they evolve, how they become more specialized, dependent on how they specialize based on environment, food, stuff like that. And he learns a great deal about that, which is kind of the fun part of the story. He's at that point, he's you don't really see too much of that part of the story, but it is still part of it. And he, lives his life. Let's do cudgel hits. The lower the enemy's total, the higher damage you deal. But it doesn't seem that good. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, but minimum plus 120 is pretty good. Let's just go with this. I don't know what any of this does. Can I... Alright. I can check my hero here. So Phantom Strike, pull out a hair, blow at the enemy. I'm gonna clone, perform cudgel hits up to 4 times to enemies within 10 meters. Every cudgel hit deals weapon damage instead of skill damage, based on held weapon. Soul Strike has additional effects based on weapon type. Each enemy can be struck by cudgel only once. And so, with the pistol, or with pistol type weapons, cudgel hit triggers Essence Chain that deals only damage, plus 100% damage for triggered Essence Chain. And there's a bunch of other ones that I'll check as necessary. Essence Chain, deal 500 to up to 4, reducing movement speed, attracting soul, and you temporarily get higher weapon levels throughout the time. That's pretty good. That's interesting. I still am not going to figure out how that works for a while. If I go like that, he'll beat them up pretty good. But in By the Grace of the Gods, the main character, like, starts out there. He by chance helps save a, you know, a duke's retainer, his bodyguard, and like they then become friends. Obviously, the whole way that that worked is kind of iffy. From like, would they really be that friendly that quickly? No, probably not. Mostly just because it is not that many options, but it's also like, he is at the time he appears as a young child who's living by himself in the forest. So like, nice people would be worried for the kid. Like, there is justification for their becoming incredibly close very quickly. Ooh. Interesting gun. But, like, that's how that works. They become friends. He temporarily travels with them for a bit to visit a mining town that is part of their territory that there have been minor issues at. And as part of that, he helps them out for a little bit while they're in town. But eventually he decides, or he helps them out. They discover that something bad happened, because obviously something bad happens. And he solves it. He gains even more of their trust. They're great friends now. And once they're great friends, over time he begins to believe that he is like relying on them too much, because he went from a self-reliant, if absolutely tortured, adult man in Japan living an absolutely awful life, to a kid who very occasionally asks them for help. Like, obviously it's his own perspective is kind of off, but also he can do it himself, so to an extent it's fine. But that's like, it hasn't been totally addressed yet, but the character is gradually, you know, growing, realizing they can rely on others, and it's not like a sign of weakness that they're able to, if they rely on other people for help now and then. 80% skill damage every time you purchase from the peddler. I'm never gonna buy from the peddler, so that's just 80% skill damage. Yeah, 1500 damage, easy. But that he does that. So when they eventually leave to go to their main estate, he decides to stick back in this mining town and just help out around there for a bit. What do I want to pick up? Let's think. Ashen Dust seems good against mobs, but terrible against bosses. Why not? Let's just purely spec into Smash to Dust and Cudgel Strike. Like, only spec that, nothing else. Well, I will spec other stuff if I have to. But... oh, do I have 3 charges of Cudgel? No. I have no idea what this charge thing is. Oh. Okay, I don't know what that is. Oh, there's enemies, that's why. But yes, so he then decides to live in the town is called Gimmel, like Gimmul or something like that. What a rude dude. But he decides to live there. I think it's after they leave, but it might be before. It might be around the time they're preparing to leave. He begins to like let's swap this. I'm not gonna use it. He begins his laundromat, which uses slimes that he has evolved by feeding different things, specifically like cleaning stuff up. Predict enemies decay. That would be good. Primary skill cooldown? No. Sure. But the character, that's how the character lives his life. Oops, wrong button. Meant to push this. But yes, if he gets that set up, he now has no need to even think about money. Like, he can just live his life free and safe. To not consume reserve ammo. There. But he gets that set up, he's now stable. And then... Actually, is this the Black Hole one? Yeah. But I don't think I like that gun. It's not bad, but over time, okay, it didn't do anything. But so, he has that set up. So he has that as a point of, basically it's just a point of interest. The actual specifics of the laundromat don't really matter that much. It's mostly meant to serve as a way to introduce characters, have some degree of conflict. Like, the actual management of it is not a particularly important plot point. Like, some stories try to emphasize, oh hey, this character is a shrewd businessman. But I think this one generally just sort of, yeah, he has two people who do a lot of the more involved stuff for him. So it doesn't attempt to portray him as a business master. Like, the only business mastery thing that he does is like, oh, bulk discounts. Like, which is like, yeah, that's something that is fairly common. So it makes sense that he would do that. But it doesn't try to portray, it does, in the world, it portrays it as like a remarkable step forward and as great business acumen. But it doesn't try to like spin it as he's an exceptional businessman. Because he's just applying something that is very normal in modern Earth society, where if you buy a lot of something, it's generally going to be cheaper. What's that? Yeah. So it doesn't overemphasize the basic application of stuff that exists on Earth. Which is nice. I should probably swap this gun. What weapon type? I need to use a different weapon type like this. But yes, this is something that helps this story. Yeah, that's how this story works. Once he has that up and running, he makes friends with the surrounding people. The surrounding people, you know, begin to mostly like him a great deal. There's a few points where people misunderstand everything and like think he's some monster. What a fun boss fight. This one's way worse than the other, like Lulu or whatever his name is. But like, a lot of the story of By the Grace of God sort of, I feel, gets a little... is not memorable. Like, it's still fun in the moment, but it's like any, like, involved... any slice of life. It will have moments that stand out, but rarely do the everyday, like, plot lines stand out because it's mostly just meant to be a chill day. Like, you don't remember everything about every Tuesday. It's like, it's fine that a lot of these stories don't... like, I think it's fine that the book doesn't, like, negatively... like, I don't think it's a negative that plenty of the story is not memorable at all. I don't think that's the end of the world. It's not the best, but it's not a huge issue. I want to swap this. Or just do like assault rifle. I kind of hate that the semi-auto seems to fire faster. But yeah, it's mostly like there's some of the later stuff becomes memorable. It's eventually established. Like there's eventually like more people introduced. He has like work that he does. He hires people who live in the slums and whatever. Like very, like pretty generic do-gooding, but that's just kind of what the character is. They're just a kind of a generic do-gooder. Which, like, it's fine. But it's not very memorable. Like, the only thing memorable for me about this story is just the general emphasis on limes and the fact that the god of Earth completely messed with his past life. Which, like, I think is kind of an appealing thing to examine. Because, like, having a god that's, like, the god of Earth is, by many, I would say many perspectives, he would qualify as evil. But he's not, like, an evil mastermind type of evil. He just doesn't care about other people. He's not he doesn't have elaborate plans to absorb the souls of every human on the planet. He didn't usurp the previous god. He's just not a great guy. It's a fairly relaxed point, but it's neat. And like, it's fun to read. But on the topic of gods that are just, like, I would say almost comically evil. Another book that I read a few chapters of in the last few weeks is called I'm just a passing beast tamer or something. Where the entire, like, fundamental premise is that the main character is objectively uber strong. They're the strongest being in the entire planet, basically. Like, there's not really a contest. Like, nothing that has been introduced has even for a second stood a chance in a fight against them. And then, but then they decide, it's a story where it's like, oh, there's professions, you were given a profession once you come of age and stuff, and like, they're reincarnated, and in their past life, they hated that animals hated them. So they like stressed becoming a beast tamer, and so they were given that profession. But beast tamer is a profession that super nerfs the character, but the character's still stupidly overpowered because that's just what the character is. Which is like, it's a gag story, I believe. Like, there's certain elements where it could be like a misunderstanding type of story, if it weren't for the fact that if it was a misunderstanding type of story, it would just be pretty bad. Because the parts that I find interesting about those type of stories are how there's like logic to misunderstandings, but the only misunderstandings in this story are that like there's fluffiness means something that isn't just this animal is fluffy. Like the fact that an entire overall like running gag is that the creatures that she tamed don't understand the term fluffy is weird and doesn't really make any sense, I think. Like, let's do this. Let's see how it goes. Like, I don't think it makes any sense that this entire world wouldn't have a concept of fluffy, which is why it's just a gag story, at least, which sort of helps a bit. But like, it can't be anything more than a gag story, because it's not even like, the premise for the world is too flawed. That was not even a button I pushed. Yeah, I died because I'm bad. I'm not gonna revive because that's a waste of time. The build was fun, but it wasn't very interesting. Like, because that cudgel attack didn't do anything. That, like, if it didn't one-shot, it just seemed bad. Let's swap to this weird character. They have cast a shockwave, which deals fire damage to enemies along the way. Every energy consumed up to 60 during the charge will boost the damage by 2%. The ability will evolve when consuming 30 energy, increasing damage in AoE by 100%. Initial max energy is 60. 2% energy per second regen. 2 energy when killing enemies with fire damage. And then summon a blazing meteor, recover 2 energy for every enemy hit by a blazing meteor. And drops an extra fire damage weapon after defeating, so there's more fire damage. And when spiritual flame hits an enemy, energy consumed will be accumulated for every 1,200 energy accumulated. 30% charging speed on spiritual flame, up to 3 stacks. Interesting. But yes, the book, Saint question mark, no, I'm just a passing, no, misclick. Okay, it's boring. This is fire. Neither of those are fire. I don't like this gun, but it's fire, so I'm gonna go with it. But yes, it's a gag story. It's not serious at all. The character is strong enough that they could win against every god in existence in this story. So it's kind of like, well, no, it seems like the character could definitely win against every god that's been introduced, mostly because it's a gag story. If it was a serious story, there's actually nothing that supports that assumption. But because it's a story that's just not serious at all, my assumption would always be there is no chance of anyone ever beating her, because that's not the type of story it is. I actually have to remember that I need to accumulate energy by using that regularly. Max HP, copper gain, nope. Yes. It's a gag. It's not serious. But it's also like a companion collecting story, which is whatever. But each character collected ends up having like a cute and fluffy form and a scary, strong form. Which, like, it fits sort of, but it definitely is not the type of story that I could actually reread all the way through, because its comedy is not strong enough for that, in my opinion. Recover 3 energy for every enemy killed by spiritual flame. 20% chance to recover energy consumed. Sure, whatever. Let's just spec into using the E. Mostly because I want to try to stack that quick charge thing. But yeah, it's a gag. It's not the strongest gag story. Pretty okay. But it's fine. It's just incredibly, I find it very repetitive. Like, I've read it. I will probably reread it at some point. But like, I'm not in a rush to reread it. Like, I wouldn't. There's dozens of books that I would reread first. Even books that I've read, that I've reread recently, are ones that I would rather read first, or reread first. Lose. Sure. Base damage blazing meteor. Every time you inflict burning effect, gain 1 stack of mark, up to 5 stacks. Lose 3 stacks when you take damage, and you take 10% less damage per stack, plus 30% weapon and skill damage at full stack. That seems really good. And the third tier is very good. Because that gives you like 90% damage reduction at full stacks, and you only lose 2, so you only need to apply burning twice more to get it back up. That seems really strong. Yeah, let's go with that. Now, if I had the ability that made the E always burn, that would be valuable. And I got hit. It's gonna be better, I think, against boss. If I can get it stacked for bosses. I think as long as I play it reasonably safe, it will be worth more against bosses than against like a horde of weak enemies. But actually I need to check something here. Can I cannot. Okay. Oh yeah, they explode when they die. My bad. I'm gonna die because I'm bad. Oh wait, no. I'm gonna die because I took 75% damage for gold. I totally forgot I did that, so I forgot I was basically dead already. Okay, that was not at all where I was aiming. That's not at all where I was aiming. Okay, I'm safe. Did I take an occult scroll? No, I didn't. That was the other one. Any good? I should probably heal. I might grab that, but I probably won't. Yeah, let's heal so I don't die. AoE, I want fire. I'm getting distracted more than I meant to be. A lot of damage. I'm distracted. Fire damage. I mean, more compelling than this gun. Like, it's... yeah. I click, it shoots. I release, it shoots. If I just click, it shoots really quick. So this is a special gun. This is a special gun. I'll swap the second gun for... sure. Swap it for that. Okay. But yes. Gag story. It begins... well, that's probably good. The story begins with a major emphasis on her choice to become a beast tamer. It examines the impacts, and she eventually finds a cute little beast that is all dark and getting beaten up. But then it does the, I would say, relatively common side effect of this black dog box. I don't remember if it actually specifies the type of animal or not. It definitely does. I just ignore it because it doesn't really impact the story all that much. But that then, oh, it turns out the first beast she met and tamed was actually the demon god, or demon king. I died because I was too aggressive. You know what, this time I'm gonna revive, because this run could be fun. Because I have infinite scaling health if I'm aggressive enough early. It should be fine. I don't know what 7 meters is in this game, but these, like, things are never, like, very interesting. It's just sort of walk between them. And they don't even one-shot you. But yeah, that's sort of how the story feels. And I think there's a lot that it could do better if it didn't want to just be a gag story, which, I mean, there's no reason for it to not just be a gag story. Like, there's no reason for it to be anything more, because that's all it's aiming for. It doesn't care about being a super serious story, I hope. Fire, I like that one. Probably one of my preferred weapons, these, like, throwing knife ones, because they're a lot of fun, especially since they, like, bounce. Bouncing weapons are great fun. But okay, and she tames her first friend. He's stuck as a super weak, completely useless form. But it's also established that the main character, it's already been established that the main character is, like, immensely powerful. That might be good. It's probably worth more than upgrading the weapon more times. Like, the character meets them, learns that they're stuck as this weak form. They sort of eventually... She doesn't even try to help him fix his issue. She doesn't care. I mean, even eventually once it's solved, she explicitly is like, you have to stay in the cube form. He, for some reason, the character interprets that as meaning that it's some sort of training, because they've interpreted fluffiness as like a form of power or something, because again, they don't have the concept of fluffiness in this world, which doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is. Pretty punting damage. That's pretty good. Not fire, but probably better than this. Ice? Oh, that one's cool, actually. If I remember that weapon correctly, it's like... Oh, I can't... No, you have to... Yes, there has to be an enemy to target to use it. But it's like a... From any sort of... I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, but like... Wuxia Zhanja. Chinese cultivation novels. It's very common... I assume in mythology as well, to have like flying swords. And that's what this is. It's like you point and your swords fly there. And it's super cool as like something to have in a game like this. It's stylish. It's relatively unique. And it gives me a chance. I need to do this. Probably should have saved that for when the boss type enemy shows up, but... But yeah, like, it's established very quickly that all she cares about is fluffy animals. So every animal that she finds that's fluffy, she does her best to tame. And I mean, since she's a gag character, she always succeeds. Because gag characters can never fail. Unless it fits the gag. Like, they can be bad at various things, but they can never fail on a level that is vital to the character. Like, One Punch Man. He cannot fail when it comes to fighting an actual enemy, but he can lose to a mosquito. Like, it is, like, that's how it works. Gag characters, whatever's funniest is what generally is going to happen. And which I think is the best way to do it for this type of, for like silly stories. But this, so it's not memorable either, this one, but like she starts off with the Demon King. Eventually, the Demon King's former people come to kill him because there can only be one Demon King in the world. And so others want to become the Demon King, so to become Demon King, they have to get rid of the old Demon King. But like, they can't because she is stronger than everybody, so it's fine. He eventually succeeds in releasing the curse, revealing to her that he's a hot dude, but then she instantly complains at him and says if he doesn't change back to the fluffy form, she will be, like, she would throw him out, never interact with him again. So he then basically reverts to fluffy form, never to spend a long-term time in his actual body ever, for basically ever again. Because she doesn't want the actual person, she just wants fluffy creature. But then, because it's a weird gag, it also establishes that he then interprets this emphasis of staying in a weaker form as like training, sort of akin to wearing weights so that you're always held down. And like, it's funny, that part. Like, it does an okay job of justifying why he's willing to put up with it. Like, again, the fact they don't understand the concept of fluffiness doesn't exist is wild, and I would say unbelievable. But it's a gag, so it just goes however it goes. It is whatever is necessary for the story is how it kind of, by nature, how it has to go. Luxurious, random, rare, scroll. How much money do I have? Plenty of money. Chance to get a legend. Let's go with rare. Skill damage. Sure. Let's not shop at the peddler again. Yeah, she does that, and that's more or less how I think the first one ends. Like, the goddess tries to intervene to kill them, and she gets sent packing because she's weaker than the main character. Then the second volume, like, sort of, the next plot is like, oh, they're journeying to look for another fluffy friend. Somehow they run into a Fenrir that escaped by casting its soul out of its body, and you guessed it, leaving itself, like, its soul then has to be in a weakened body, which is obviously a cute, fluffy, like, puppy. But this Fenrir is kind of stupid, so eventually when they have to deal with the fact that the main character only wants the cute, fluffy dog, they don't care as much. I need some sort of healing, because I'm gonna die if I don't have some sort of sustain. Like, yeah, this new Fenrir is introduced, and as part of the Fenrir being introduced, the Fenrir escaped because the saint who was chosen was, like, trying to force the Fenrir to submit to them, so they escaped, and this led to the, you know, characters meeting. Oh, thank you for stopping by then. Kinda a little all over the place, but glad you have a positive opinion. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get chat in a better position though. Now I got distracted by... What did I get distracted? What was I trying to talk about? Okay. was I talking about? It was the Fenrir was escaping from Saint, and yes, the story establishes that the Saint is a fake profession established by this goddess to control the individual who gets it, while also giving them significant amount of power so they can, you know, gather faith. And as with many of these types of stories, gods and such need faith to gain their own power, because I think it's actually a fairly common idea that, like, if, like, I think there's many stories where gods get power from faith, and once they're forgotten, they sort of cease to exist. And so this follows that on a rough level. It doesn't go into detail because it's a gag story, but it seems like it's establishing that. Not fire. Okay, progress. Okay. That's established. That's what the second book mostly emphasizes. So crits are increased, everything else is decreased. Means I need to actually be able to aim, which I cannot do. Okay, those can't crit, so they're useless. Okay, but that's really good with this because they just sort of crit if you point in the general direction of their head. Yeah, second volume, Fenrir is introduced, and eventually, you know, as with these types of stories, they end up fighting with the Saint, but then that was misclick. Oh, that's actually really strong. When charging the whatever this is called, the spiritual flame, these continue to attack, whereas most of the time you would have to deal with not attacking while charging. It's very, very strong. As long as I have this out, we'll combo appropriately. Not fire, but probably better than many. It's probably better than... I still need fire actually, so I can't really swap it. I'm gonna die. Oop. I don't have any healing, so I'm gonna die. Okay, good. Okay, it's kind of weird that I can aim through walls. I don't want to shop here. Yes. Compare. I don't think that's a good... I think the justice is kind of bad because it's a kind of iffy grenade launcher. Good, got that. But yes, the second volume stops. Deals 200 damage, only one enemy. That's good. Second volume stops where, like, the goddess tries to intervene, she is stopped again, and it just sort of, everything works out. The Saint's no longer mind controlled after being saved, and it just sort of, okay, I didn't dodge properly. I have no idea where the crit spot is. It's up in the middle here. Okay, that was kind of a weird... Okay, the crit is hard to locate. probably want to use this for a bit, because if I can burn, I will gain more energy. I think I will deal more damage if I focus on hitting with that as opposed to emphasizing this. No, this is better damage point. Okay, I didn't jump, I'm bad. Okay, I didn't jump, I'm bad. You know, I need to get fire damage and fire kills. So now I think I should be in an okay spot, as long as I get this guy to stand up for long enough to hit with Spiritual Flame. Yep, got it. So I should have a fire weapon in here somewhere. That's what I thought it said. Max energy. Energy recovery. Restore 3 energy, but let's go with energy. Not one of these. Oh, is this the fire weapon? It's probably better than this. Convert it to fire. The Gemini doesn't do anything until I have a second. It already has a 30% chance of burning, so maybe it's lower burning, but I don't know how. I don't know if this is already applied there. I'm thinking this is the way to go. Nope, that's not the one I want to swap. I want to swap this gun. Ooh, okay, there are different weapon types, good. Lucky shot chance after dashing, good. Yeah, I was trying to think about, yeah, this race ends with the Saint. Oh, okay, so each 30-point energy interval adds a new bar to the little circle. I kind of hate that this zooms. And this is going to be a lot safer though, but it's also going to negative synergy with my be close to gain max health. But I have a lot of max health actually. I don't want to buy from him, though it is just skill damage. But second book ends there. Third book starts where the second book left off pretty much. But it felt out of nowhere to me, but then it decides that the character is exploring. I mean, actually no. It fits. The character is, you know, hunting for another companion, another cute animal to, like, train. And they eventually go to a vampire's castle. And as part of visiting the vampire castle, they save the vampire. And the vampire then... Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, I didn't... Okay. Am I just stuck? No. It's just incredibly slow. Okay, you don't actually have to aim at the lift switch, you just have to be on the lift. That's not the best design. That does so much damage. 70,000 damage to each of those guys. And like, I get 50% of my energy back instantly. I'm gonna die because I'm bad. I don't actually have any form of healing. I need to locate some sort of healing. But I keep getting distracted. They meet a vampire. the vampire is healed by their blood, and then the vampire becomes a cute bat creature. It's not a bat though, because it's a fluff ball. Like, oh, the bat becomes their next pet. The bat has no character. I mean, it has character in the sense that it's just a trope, but there's nothing deep about the characters. None of the characters are particularly interesting. Like, they're all, I would say, paper-thin tropes at best. Like, none of, I think, ironically, I think the most interesting character is the incredibly uninteresting dad, whose entire joke is that they literally cannot use magic, but they want to. Like, that's all their character is, and that's more interesting than any of the other characters in the story. Like, I've read it mostly because it's easy to read, but other than that ease of reading, it has very little actual value as a story. Like, it's not... Okay, that was a side area. I totally got confused by the fact that I just missed the chest. Like, the final chest for, you know, upgrading. Oops, misclick. That was very close. I could have died. I should have died. Gemini. How does that compare to this? Still worse. How is it compared to the woodpecker? 2x crit. Way better rounds per minute. Worse burn chance. I'll leave it. It might be better. Elemental effect. When reloading after killing an enemy, faster reload. Yeah, I think it's better to stick with this weird one. Recover 6 energy for every enemy killed by spiritual flame. 30% chance to recover energy consumed. Fires would be good, but I think maxing the Flame Talisman might be better, because it's a whole lot less damage and it's a whole lot more damage out. I'm probably almost always at like none. Like, I'm probably just about empty on that at all times, but the fact that I can like, there I'm at 5, so I deal 100% more damage. Like, as long as I play it safe, I can then use this and I deal a ton of damage. Or as long as I use... Ooh, definitely. This is probably the gun that I've used the most, because it is safe. Okay, I hate that zoom, it's way too much. It's just, I think, the safest gun in the game, because like, it's just a sniper. With like, it can hit for 22,000 damage. And while it can't shoot as fast as the crossbow one I was just using, it's also significantly more accurate. So you can like critical every shot without too much issue. Okay, these guys are gonna combo me. Okay, so I'm not dead. I need to heal, but I'm still at 99 health actually. I just have a lot of total HP. That was kind of glitchy. Yeah, that's why this is probably the gun I've relied on the most. It's a fun gun. Yeah. Got distracted. Third volume is mostly just sorta... What is that? Oh, I guess it's like... I do not understand this. Yeah, the third volume is just kind of... It does that, and then the knights who were hunting the dragon decide to... Is that the wrong one? The knights who were hunting the dragon decide that they then have to hunt her down because she's aiding a fugitive. Despite the fact that, like, the main knight who is in charge of the hunting is doing it for less than appropriate reasons. What, I can't... when picking up scrolls for me, small chance of obtaining cursed scrolls. Probably not good to pick up. But elemental damage for each nearby enemy. That's good. Every cursed scroll, that's useless, but I might as well pick it up. But that is just that. So the saint from the previous book was converted to new religion of fluffiness is the best thing in the world. Which is like kind of dumb. Doesn't really make sense, but it's a gag. It is what it is. Kind of, you get what you get. But the saint is like, he tries to stop the knight from attacking her, chasing her. Doesn't work because she's no longer like actually representing their religion appropriately, which is like accurate. She has gone kind of crazy. But that's very strong. Yeah, that's that. She, like, the main character then stays in a safe place, which is with her family. Once they visit their family, it's also established that her family is incredibly strong, so it's not like she is uniquely powerful. It's just... Well, she is uniquely powerful, but it's sort of, despite being uniquely powerful for magic reasons, she is also, like, descended from people who are strong. When recovering or consuming equal to 50% of energy change, that's probably really good. I think that's the one to go for, because that will be, from full charge, that's 60 shield. Use burns to death. Fire? No. Become some of both weapon magazine capacities. Oh, that's really good with specific weapons. Like if you have a weapon with 1 and a weapon with a ton, it's super good. It's not great with this, but it's also I don't think I have the other one. Yeah, I don't have the one that would go with it anymore. But I definitely had another Gemini weapon that could have comboed. I like those little crabs. Octopus dead. But yes. She had that with her family. We learned that her family is incredibly strong. We learned the gag about her father being like the best swordsman, except he only is interested in magic. The knights show up. they lose to peasants because her family is super strong, and by nature that makes it so that their barely trained militia of farmers is somehow stronger than like well-trained knights. Though it's hard to tell whether it was just questionably written or they wanted to establish it this way, but like it might be the case that it all her providing buffing magic to make them stronger. It doesn't read that way. That could be a translation issue though. Like it wouldn't be the hardest thing to translate in a weird way because of how like sentence structure is different. So if they just if they just wrote the sentence backwards, it would, like, if they just translated the sentence backwards, it would make more sense. But okay, these fiddler crabs are incredibly annoying. Like, most of these transform into blank after death. It's not bad. But these crabs are, like, ranged, and they have armor, so they're not trivial. They don't last long, but... Anyway. Yeah, oh. I don't know what this guy's doing. He teleported over here. But yeah. The story ends with, you know, that well, the story isn't actually over. The translation's still kind of ongoing, but it's basically over. Reforged Gemini. I'm not going to use the Gemini. But the main part of this story basically ends with the main character and her family fighting off the knight, and her heading out in search of her next animal companion, which is like, yeah, that's the nature of these stories. It's constantly gonna be like moving from one place to the next, meeting new people. But that's more or less how this part of the story ends. There's a little bit more sort of epilogue, jokey side story stuff. Like, it seems like it's it's either setting up for the stuff right now in like the post book info. Okay, so this would work, but I don't think it would be useful. It might be better than Cloudweaver. Let's see how it shoots. Sure. Just to get an alternate elemental effect, it might be worth having. Like, to have some shock. I'm not going to use that much more. Oh, wait, no. Just apologies, I'm distracted. The reason that I really like this gun is there's a specific character who some of their bonuses basically give, like, elemental explosions when you inflict elemental damage. So since this gun has a pretty good elemental status chance, it will cause... It does a good job of applying it and then chaining explosions to other enemies. Yeah. Anyway, that's how those two books that I've been reading bits of recently have been. Now I'm gonna focus on playing this because I think I'm near the final boss of, like, a route. Like, once I think there's only, at least on base normal mode, I don't know anything about elite. I think this is more or less where the game ends. Like, I think I'm about to fight the last boss, and then the run will be over. Especially looking at the time, being 48 minutes. I'm pretty sure my first run, I was looking at it earlier, my first run took 36-ish minutes, and it wasn't, and this doesn't feel like a slow run. Recover more is probably worth it. Oh, I guess that's what it looks like. It's fighting a boat. I think it's still fighting a boat, but... So, I can upgrade weapons. I'll double check if there's anything that would be worth losing 5%. That could be good, but it's not that interesting. Boost this. I could reforge both of these, but that might absolutely ruin the reason that I have this at all, so I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't like this fight. Having done it like twice now. I can't remember what you're supposed to do. I thought you shoot the... Yes, you shoot the cannons. You avoid those. Then you prepare... You stay safe. You try not to die. And while doing your best not to die, you have to get a cannonball. Shoot it into artillery. Breaks the barrier. Probably in my best interest to pay attention. Oh, I can probably shoot these eyeballs, yep. I should probably spend some time clearing out these eyeballs. And just make sure that I can... Oh, is that just it? There's no way that's it. No, yeah, there's a second phase. Yeah, the funny, like, Tengu. And I one-shot the first part, like the, I don't know, individual phase transition. Kill my die. Oh, it looks like there's a time limit on the cannonballs that I'm actively carrying. And I'm dead. Oh. I killed it after I died. That was very lucky. I mean, that's probably not worth grabbing. I don't think that was worth grabbing, but maybe it was. Heat recovery. More restored, I guess. I mean, oh, is this loop? Next scene. Cool, there is another phase. Neat. Let's see what it is. Because I don't think I've seen this. I don't know if it didn't exist when I beat the game the one time I beat it, or if you only unlock it after you beat the game. I don't think I'm in a position to do well, but I have a chance. I mean, I kind of like this stage. This stage is kind of cute. I don't know what's giving the confusion thing. It must be some sort of effect that I'm just not paying attention to. 80% damage, so I almost have the 3 stacks for faster charging. Kung Fu Monkey. Okay, I have no idea. I can't imagine I'll be able to beat whatever the boss for this area is. Random weapon, replace normal inscription with rare. Sure. Normal with rare on this one. Reloading, faster reload. That's kind of useless. I don't know what I lost, but I imagine what I lost was probably better than that. Let's just keep upgrading that. Though I actually should upgrade this gun because it's actually pretty good. And by pretty good, I mostly mean it's the one that I'm using. I'm kind of disappointed by this damage to these penguins. I feel like they should be taking a lot more damage from fire. It seems like the lightning gun is better right now. It has AoE, or consistent AoE. Gemini, plant spores, equivalent on-hit projectile protects the other weapon when the amount reaches 30, deals additional weapon damage. Yeah, I feel like I should swap. I should upgrade this gun instead of the other one. I mean, that's 4 HP right there. Okay, I'm just gonna focus on this because I have nothing else that I thought about to talk about, and I've not seen this area, and it would be nice to beat the boss. Yeah, this gun's, I think, better than the sniper I was using. Okay, something is confusing them. I don't know what. Wait, is that a shrimp? Are they wielding a shrimp as a weapon? And shooting ice out of a shrimp? Yeah, this other gun's doing more damage. Is that a UFO? It is, just a flying saucer. Yeah, that is like a shrimp, or a prawn, or whatever. Very iffy. I need to figure out what's applying like random status effects. Yes, it's a chance to apply the elemental effect from the other weapon. Accuracy, stability, corrosion damage. Against enemies an elemental effect. Is it one of these? Elemental damage for each enemy nearby with an elemental effect. I don't know, I don't think any of these should be doing that. I don't know. Very clicky keyboard. It wasn't picking. Oh, that's cursed looking. Why is that? Deal more damage for single target meteors. I don't know what that was. Oh, they turn to walruses when they die. The walruses that die when they start as walruses turn into walruses. That's pretty funny, actually. I'm glad they didn't make an exception for, like, anything that started as a walrus doesn't turn into a walrus. That'd be pretty lame. But instead, everything, including walruses, turn into walruses after they die. I mean, it was probably the same with the, like, little bugs near the start of the game, but I just didn't notice because they were just little bugs. Whereas these are walruses, which are much more interesting. Hey, got it. I really want to know what these flying saucer things are. Like, whether they're part of it, like they're just enemies that you just have to deal with, or if there's some sort of special enemy. I wonder if each of those counts as a stack of HP. That would be pretty good, actually. So I'm at 265, and I ended at 269, so each of them did count. When you're far away, better lucky shots. I mean, there's no reason not to pick it up. Hyperborean Jokel. Any more flying saucers? Yeah, I'm at full stacks for the charging of my E ability. I have 202 bonus health. 204. So they're actually riding monkeys. It's Mandrill monkeys. Well, monkeys. I don't know if they're monkeys or what. But I thought they were wolves at first. I saw the word Mandrill, but I didn't realize they meant like a monkey. Again, I'm not actually sure if it's a monkey or what the specific, whether it's like some other specific term like lemur or whatever. I don't think they're lemurs though. I missed the flying saucer somehow. I saw that there was a tracker for damage dealt on a run in statistics. I wonder if that execute damage counts. Like, it seems like it'd be easy to remove, but after Spiritual Flame evolves, it deals more damage. That's something I would have probably taken anyway. I wonder what's making it so that I can't pick. Whether it's just at this point in the game you can't pick anymore, which is kind of lame, or if there's something I'm missing that I need to do to make it so that it's not locked. One element of this game that's weird is that most of the time it doesn't seem like weapons, the ammo matters. Cause I just realized that I've been using the same gun this entire time without swapping because I haven't been shooting with this. And like I haven't meaningfully lost, I haven't lost a meaningful amount of ammo, like. So it's kinda. definitely be... Pick up copper, recover HP, perfect. Actual healing. It was not the best healing, but healing is always nice. I have no idea what this enemy is. I have no idea what this stage is, so I have no idea what this enemy is by, you know, the side effect. This gun's better. I can upgrade it to 9. Let's hope that this goes well, whatever this is. Oh! Okay, so it's all about Spaceman. This feels like I'm gonna lose. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so I need to kill that behind him. I'm gonna use that. Hopefully it doesn't. Okay, so he's leaving a stuff on the ground. Okay, bad dodge. I think that's the way to go. Now I just need enough recharge on my... I should have dodged in. Oh, now he has a huge amount of shield. Okay, he's a Dark Souls boss, except without, not in a game with, like, good perspective to deal with his attack style. Fun. I'm gonna die because I don't understand how to dodge this, and he's leaving stuff on the ground everywhere. And I got hit because I'm bad, but I don't like that fight. That fight just doesn't feel good. Like that last phase, he just gets a huge shield. If I didn't have... I mean, I had an electric lightning damage, which I think is effective against shields, but like, if I only had fire, I would just lose. Blaze meter base damage, max shield, damage against burning effect. What do I want to level up? Let's level up stuff for everyone because I want to unlock this snowy leopard or whatever, panda, Siberian tiger, I don't know. Peddler, damage, exclusive inscriptions might be worth grabbing just to see more of them. So I'm at 51, I need 4 more. Let's unlock that. Increase time until death when knocked down. That's multiplayer, that's useless. I mean, decreasing damage is pretty good. Reduce time it takes, useless. Lower cooldown of dash / primary. Peddler, let's grab, okay, I have 4, let's grab that. Let's decrease my damage. And sure. Now I've unlocked that character. What is this? It's an item. Now I'm gonna unlock the last character, I think. And I think he's the sniper. Oh, I haven't unlocked him. He's unlocked by spending points. He is sniper guy, right? Yeah. He's good with snipers. Activate the the electric current hidden under Lei Luo's. That's probably not how it's pronounced, despite how it's written. Granting 30% move speed, 50% skill damage for 5 seconds. First shot, ends the bonus, dealing 100% extra damage and dealing 800 lightning damage. Chain lightning hits potentially 3 enemies for 600. Seems kind of fine, but not exceptional. You can choose a random extra talent after starting the adventure. So that has that. Interesting. Not the most special character, but they're neat. I mean, here's where I'm going to stop for today. I'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll try to better plan something to talk about for the entire time. And yeah.